ever stumbled upon those videos online, which I'm sure you have, talking about astrology and birth charts, and then you do your birth chart, and you see this wheel. It's very intimidating, and you don't know what it means. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to read a birth chart, a little birth wheel, that little circle. You see, I'm gonna be teaching you how to read that because I have been obsessed with astrology ever since I was a wee little girl. I was maybe around like 14, 15. I was back at the beginning of my high school days. That's when I was really obsessed with astrology. I always thought about making an ASMR video to teach you guys because I love ASMR and I love astrology. So I'm gonna be making a video today that teaches you astrology. Okay. So the first part of the video, this is how I'm gonna break it down. I'm first gonna talk about the wheel, and the astrology wheel. The second part of the video, I'm gonna be talking about the planets, and then I am going to be giving you a little lesson on just what the planets and what the houses mean. Not too deep for the first one, because I really want to make sure that you guys understand the concept of houses. Alright, so I'm gonna use this. To draw. I'm gonna draw everything on here. Hopefully you guys can see. And I'm gonna be drawing. Let me just adjust this. There you go. I'm gonna be drawing the wheel, and I'm gonna be talking about all of the houses. I'm so excited because I feel like this has been like years of knowledge. So let's start off. So when you first do your horoscope, I'm also gonna be using this pen, this marker. Sorry, it's actually a highlighter. Draw with the highlighter. It's gonna make some delicious little noises as I draw it in. It's such a nice bright color. So, when you first do your astrology chart, you usually get a little wheel. Okay, so the wheel has 12 different houses. Okay, each little section of the pie. When you do your wheel, is a different house. So I'm gonna draw the wheel for you of what you would usually get if you were to make your horoscope. Okay, so. I hope that you can see that, but you usually will get a wheel like this, okay, and it'll be sectioned off. Into 12 different parts, okay? is your first house, okay? So anything in this little section of pie, any planet we have there, any sign we have there, okay, is, we say it's in your first house. Okay, so when somebody says to look at your fourth house, your fourth house, your fourth house, your fourth, 1, 2, 3, 4, you'll look here, okay? So you count 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your fourth house, okay? So where is the sixth house? Where is the sixth house? You count from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is your sixth house, okay? Where is the 11th house? Where's the 11th house? Again, you start at the first and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. A lot of online resources to measure, to do your birth chart will already have numbers displayed in all the houses. So you know exactly already what number, what house the pie is referring to. Okay, but it's important to note that not all houses are created equally, okay? So not all houses are created equally, okay? Not all houses are created equally. Not all houses are created equally. So what that means is that some houses are more important than others. Some houses are more important than others, okay? So the most important houses are the first house, the seventh house, which is opposite from that first house, the fourth house, and the 10th house, okay? So, once again, we have the first, the fourth, the seventh, and the 10th, okay? Those are the 4 most important houses. 4 most important houses. 4 most important houses. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 4, 7, 10. 1, 4, 7, 10. 1, 4, 7, 10. Those are the most important houses. Most important houses in astrology, okay? So, anything in those houses is more important than anything in another house, okay? We also have good and bad houses, but first I want to tell you the meaning of the most important houses. So, the first house, which is also known as your rising sign or your ascendant. So, your rising or your ascendant is whatever sign falls on the first house. So, usually when we have a wheel, we'll have an outside wheel. We'll have an outside wheel with signs, okay? So, now this is a little complicated, but you could use a whole sign system where the signs line up perfectly with the houses, or you can use something called Plasidus where the signs don't exactly line up with the houses. So I'll give you an example of both, okay? So in the whole sign house system, exactly where the house ends, that's where the sign ends, and where the new one begins, that's where the new sign begins. And then again, like this. So this'll line up perfectly, okay? And then this entire section here belonging to the first house will be one sign. Okay, so let's say the sign is, it's Scorpio, because that's what mine is. Okay, so I'm gonna draw the symbol for Scorpio. So you see here, I drew the symbol for Scorpio. And that means that this person's first house is in the sign of Scorpio. And if we use a whole sign system, then Scorpio fills up the entire first house. And then at the end of the first house, there's a brand new sign. And it starts right here, and then it'll end right here. Okay? And then at the third house, it'll be the start of a new sign, and it'll end at the end of the third house. So, that's what whole sign means. However, if we looked at the Placidus house system, it won't exactly line up. So, for example, if I was a Scorpio rising, which I am, let's say it ends here, but then it starts here. So, in this case, Let me just use a different color to differentiate that. Oops. In this case, in the Placidus system, the sign ends in the middle of the second house, but then it starts in the middle of the 12th house. Okay, so this is usually what happens in the Placidus system, and in this case, you're still a Scorpio rising if this little needle here representing the start of the first house. Okay, so in this case, we look at the start of the first house. If the start of the first house is in the sign Scorpio, then you're also a Scorpio rising. But then part of your first house will be the next sign, which is Sagittarius. Okay, but you're not a Sagittarius rising. You're still a Scorpio rising, a Scorpio rising, a Scorpio rising. Okay, so do you understand? All right. So the difference. Honestly, it's very debatable about which one you want to use. Whether you want to use Placidus or if you want to use a whole sign. Okay. Personally, I prefer using a whole sign. I find it more accurate and it's less complicated, especially if you're a beginner. So if you're a beginner and you're just practicing using astrology, I would recommend that you start with whole sign because it's easier. Okay. But if you find Placidus is more effective for you or it's more accurate, then use Placidus. Personally, for me, I find that whole sign works better for me. I have a stellium, so most of my planets are either in the fourth house, the fourth house, the fourth house in Placidus, 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 or they're in the fifth house, and the fifth house, and the fifth house. If I'm using whole sign, whole sign, whole sign, okay. So I prefer whole sign, but you can use whichever one. Okay. So the first house represents yourself. It's your identity. Okay. So that's why the rising and the ascendant is so important, because whatever sign is at the beginning, the cusp, vocabulary, cusp means the beginning of house. So this is the cusp of the first house. This is the cusp of the second house, because this is where the second house starts. This is the cusp. This line is the cusp of the fourth house. Okay, so when I say cusp, that just means the beginning of either a sign or a house. Okay, so if the cusp of your first house is in a sign, that means it's your rising or your ascendant. Okay, your rising or your ascendant, your rising or your ascendant. Okay, and it's really important because that represents you. It represents your personality. It represents who you are and what you represents what you have to do to heal other people, okay? Sometimes if your partner is connected to the 6th house, it might mean that you like to heal people, that you search for people that you want to heal, and you kind of have this energy about you that you adopt a person and you want to fix them, okay? But the 6th house is predominantly about your daily encounters, your daily schedule, your job, not your career, but your job, okay? What you do from 9 to 5, your routine, stuff like that, which is a very beautiful placement because your routine is so important. We all find comfort in our habits and our routine and our health and everything that the 6th house represents. Your 6th house is your everyday life, okay? So it's a very important house still, but not one of the 4 most important pillar houses, okay? Then we have the 7th house. So the 7th house, if you remember, I said the 7th house is another super important house, okay? Super important, okay? Because the 7th house represents your partner, okay? Your partner. You can see it's opposite from the 1st house. The 7th house is here, it's opposite from the 1st house, okay? So whatever sign is on your 1st house, which is your rising, the opposite sign of that sign will be on your 7th house, okay? Remember how we say opposites attract? This is the astrology version of opposites attract. So remember that your 1st house represents you, right? Your 1st house is you. Your 7th house is your partner, okay? And it's the opposite sign of your rising that's on the 7th house, okay? So the 7th house that represents your partner, your serious committed partnerships. This isn't fun and games like the 5th house. This is your serious committed partner and your relationship that you have with them. It can also represent your work relationships and your hidden enemies, okay? Sorry, not exactly work relationships, but it can represent your hidden enemies, okay? I guess I connected the two because most of the time your hidden enemies are found in the workplace. So your hidden enemies are represented by the 7th house, but more importantly, it's your partner. So if you want to see your marriage, you look at the 7th house. If you want to see who you're going to marry, when you're going to get married, stuff like that, you have to connect it to the 7th house, okay? So a really important house, the 7th house, because it talks about partnerships and marriage. Then we move on to the 8th house. Now the 8th house is a spooky house. It's a very dangerous house, okay? It's another very serious house, okay? So the 8th house is all about the very deep parts of life, okay? It's finances. The 2nd house is also finances, but the 8th house is more related to other people's finances, okay? So when we look at the 8th house, we look at other people's money, people around you, you know? It could be your spouse's money that you might inherit, okay? It also talks about, you know, the other more dangerous things of life, like reproduction, stuff like that. It's a very serious house. It can talk a lot about traumas as well. I know I mentioned that in the 4th house, but really it's the 8th house. It talks about kind of rebirth and, you know, if you have a lot of planets in the 8th house, depending on what those planets represent in your birth chart, it can mean that certain people are going to screw you over and they're going to really traumatize you, okay? So, unfortunately, the 8th house is another very not so great house. Everybody has it in their chart. Everybody has every single one of these. Everybody has them in their chart. The 8th house is just another very serious house. Okay, so after the 8th house, we have the very adventurous house. It can represent someone who's very intelligent and who values education and who asks really big philosophical questions and wants to find the answers to them, okay? Wants to find the answers to them, okay? So those are all seen by the ninth house, the ninth house, the ninth house, okay? And then let's go to the 10th house, okay? The 10th house, the 10th house. After the ninth house is the 10th house. Okay, so now we're at the 10th house. So remember, I said the 10th house is another really super important house, right? Just like the first and the fourth and the 7th, the 10th is another really important house. Okay, so we have the first, the fourth, the 7th, the 10th. The last of the really important houses is the 10th house. And notice that the 10th house is the peak of your chart, okay? So look at where it is, okay? So we started at the first house. The 4th house is very deep underneath, below. Remember, it represents your roots. It represents your family. It represents your upbringing, where you come from. The 7th house, which is opposite from you. It's opposite from you. The first house is you. The 7th house is opposite from you. It represents your partner. And then the highest point in your chart is the 10th house, okay? The 10th house, for that reason, represents your reputation in the world. It represents your career, okay? It represents where you're gonna shine, okay? Whether you're gonna, however the world is gonna see you. It can tell me if you're gonna be a celebrity, if you're gonna be well known. It could just represent your career, okay? Depends what you have up here, okay? Depends what you have up here, okay? So for example, if you have Leo up here, or you have some kind of like the sun here, like some kind of planet that really brings attention to it, it can tell me that you're gonna acquire a lot of fame, and a lot of leadership in your career. You're gonna be known for something, you know, depending on what you're gonna be known for. If you have Gemini here, for example, it can tell me that you're gonna be known for your intellect and your wit, okay? You're gonna be known for your intellect and your wit if you have Gemini, because Gemini represents knowledge, okay? Gemini represents curiosity, okay? So if you have Gemini in the 10th house, it can represent that. If you have Leo, like I already mentioned, if you have Leo in the 10th house representing your career, how the world sees you, and Leo represents leadership. You are going to be a leader, okay? You are going to be the leader in a field. I don't know what field, whether you're going to be a star, whether you're just going to reach a really high ranking in your field, whatever 12th house, which is things that are not immediately visible to you, okay? But they're still a part of you. They're still a part of you. They're still a part of you, okay? So the 12th house is your subconscious mind. It can represent your spirituality, your religion, your connection with the divine, your connection with the universe, stuff like that, okay? Really, it's everything that is a part of you that you aren't specifically conscious of, your patterns. It's another more serious house. It's similar-ish to the 8th house and the 6th house, in that it's kind of like a malicious house. Usually it's not like a super lucky house, it's more of like a serious house, okay? Because it can represent loss, okay? It can represent grief, and it can represent life lessons that you need to learn along the way, okay? So those are the 12 houses in astrology. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay? Those are the 12 houses in astrology. Right. So I want you to listen to that a few times, okay? And really memorize the meaning behind all the houses. Because you do have to know that off the top of your head, okay? You do have to know that. And after that, after the 12 houses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, after the 12th house, you will have to memorize the 12 signs, okay? Notice that the houses are connected to the signs, okay? So the first house, which is the house of self, is associated with Aries, okay? Aries is considered a very selfish sign. It's the first sign of the zodiac. So it is a baby. It is a very egotistic sign. But it doesn't mean that you're an egomaniac, okay? Especially if your sun sign is Aries. It doesn't mean that, okay? So I will next go through the planets, and then I think I might actually also go through the signs as well, okay? Because it is important that you memorize the signs and what they represent, okay? So note that I just showed the horoscope wheel, okay? The horoscope wheel, okay? Every single person has all 12 houses and all 12 signs in their zodiac. They're just placed in different houses. And all the planets are in different houses as well, and signs, okay? So when you have a planet, okay, rises in the east. The sun rises in the east. So the sign that was rising on the eastern horizon when you were born is called your rising sign. Okay. The bottom of your chart. So this is you in the center, okay? And this is the entire sky when you were born. This is you, okay? You're in the center of the chart. Right above you is the sky. Right above you. Your rising is the sign that was rising in the east, right in front of you. This is the sign that was setting in the west, right behind you. Now this is the earth, so this is everything below the earth, okay? If you were born at night, the sun has already set, okay? So your sun will be in one of these houses if you were born at night, because the sun has already set. If you were born during the day, then the sun will be located in one of these houses above. Because the sun was above you, it was daytime, okay? You see how interesting that is? Okay, so this horoscope wheel is a snapshot of the earth and you standing on the earth when you were born, okay? So your fourth house is completely invisible because it's right below you, okay? It's the sign that was in the sky below you, okay? So really the only part of the sky that you could have seen when you were born is this part of the sky, right? Okay, and everything else, this is the horizon of the earth, everything else is below the earth, okay? So every planet is in a certain house, which is exactly where it was the moment that you were born, okay? So for example, if you have your sun in your fourth house, you were born in the middle of the night. The sun was at the lowest point, right below you on the other side of the earth. The moon could have been anywhere, okay? Let's say the moon was in the 10th house, so it was right above you, okay? The moon was right above you. You have your Venus, your Mercury, all of those are located somewhere in your chart, okay? They're located in a house, in a sign, okay? So I might include the symbol that depicts all of these planets, okay? The moon, the sun, let's start with the sun, okay? The sun is a circle with a dot in the center, okay? A circle with a dot, a circle with a dot, a circle with a dot, okay? And that represents the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, the sun, a circle with a dot, okay? The moon, the moon, the moon is represented by a crescent shape, okay? It's a little crescent shape, okay? A little crescent shape like this, okay? That's the moon, 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 okay? The sun represents your ego, okay? The sun represents your ego, okay? It's not you. Your rising is you, okay? But the sun represents your ego. It represents your desires. It represents what you want in this world and where you just naturally shine. Whatever planet, whatever sign the sun is in, that's where you naturally shine. Most people know their sun sign, okay? Because that's the sign when somebody asks you, what are you? Okay, like the most simplest form of astrology. What's your sign? Okay, if you say my sign is Pisces, I'm a Pisces, so I'm using that as an example. If you say my sign is Pisces, that means that the sun, when I was born, is in the sign of Pisces, 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 okay? And then we have the moon. The moon represents your emotions. The moon represents your inner world. It represents what makes you feel stable, what makes you feel whole, what makes you feel secure, okay? The moon, the moon, the moon, the moon, the doesn't mean it won't ever come. It just means that it'll be delayed. Okay. So those were the most important planets. Okay. So again, the sun, the moon, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn. The sun, the moon, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn. Okay. Once you memorize those planets and you memorize the houses and you memorize the signs, you are ready to read your birth chart. Okay. So again, each one of these planets will be in a specific house, in a specific sign. Okay. And then you just gotta connect it all together. Okay. I think I'll do a part two, explaining how to connect it all together. But this first part is just gonna be the basic. Okay. And finally, I will discuss the signs of the zodiac, Okay, so the first sign of the zodiac is Aries. Aries is very naive. Aries is the first sign. It's the baby of the zodiac. It has a lot of energy. It has a lot of vitality. The reason why is because it's obviously an immature sign, but it is ruled by Mars. Okay, so any planet, any sign that's ruled by Mars, it shows vitality. Oh, I forgot to talk about Mars. Mars, which is the final planet that's really important in your birth chart because it represents action, it represents your passions, it represents what you want to work towards, it represents work. Okay, wherever you have Mars in your birth chart tells me where you want to work hard to achieve things. You want to push forward, and you have just this burning desire and this passion to go forward in that area. Okay, so for example, if you have Mars in your 10th house, you're very passionate about your career. You will achieve great things in your career because you're so hardworking in it. If you have Mars in the 4th house, it means you're very passionate about your family, but it can also mean that you fight a lot with your family. You argue a lot with your family, okay? Because Mars can bring disagreements, okay? It doesn't just bring good things, it brings disagreements and fighting and this physical energy. If you have Mars in your first house, it means that you yourself are very athletic. You have a lot of energy. You have a lot of stamina, okay? And you yourself are very ambitious, okay? Often you're very athletic. So all of that is seen by Mars. Okay, so Aries is ruled by Mars. Next we have Taurus. Taurus is all about luxury. It's all about sensuality. People always love to say Taurus is so stubborn. I don't think Taurus is that stubborn. I don't think Taurus is a stubborn sign. Taurus is a sign that's all about the pleasures of life. They love comfort. They know how to dress. Taurus risings are beautiful. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is all about beauty and luxury. Taurus knows about luxury. Yes, they can be stubborn. Yes, they know what they want. But that's just because Taurus is a princess. Taurus is a princess sign. Okay. Taurus likes the luxuries of life. Okay. Taurus likes to look hot. They like to have their hair and their makeup and everything done to the nines. Okay. And that is Taurus. They are ruled by Venus. Okay. Taurus. a Sagittarius.